Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I'm coming to you with a tag video. I have not done a tag video in forever and there are some really fun ones going around, so I thought that I would do one. Now I know it's not Tag Tuesday, I'm doing Tag Wednesday, whatever, it's a thing. So I was actually tagged, I think it was last week or the week before, by Ollie. So thanks, Ollie, over at Criminolly, with the I'm So Annoyed tag, which has been really making the rounds. And I have loved watching these so much. And I have my own, of course, opinions. When don't I have my own opinion on something? So I am very much looking forward to this. So there are 10 questions. I'm probably not going to end up tagging anybody personally because I think everybody's done this, but we'll get there at the end. So 10 prompts. Let's jump right into it. So prompt number 1 is, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example. How much time do you have? As you guys know, I am a big proponent and lover of category romance, of Harlequin romance, and sometimes the company just does things that just do not make sense to me or to a lot of their other longtime readers. To be completely honest, most recently they got rid of the Dare line, which was, in my opinion, a very well-selling line to bring in something that did not compare at all. Like, it was, you could have had both, essentially, but you chose to get rid of one to have the other. And yeah, and then there's just other changes that are happening, you know, with their books, and I don't know. I really dislike one of the biggest things that drove me nuts about Harlequin is they used to have, like, you can buy the ebooks off of their website, and you used to be able to get them a month prior to publication. So you could buy them off of harlequin.com before you could buy them, like a month before you could buy them off of Amazon or Kobo or Walmart or wherever. And it was really great, like, for those readers who really love these and wanted to read them early. And they had a great system for ebooks that you could download them and then put them on whatever device you want as long as you had Overdrive. And then they changed it to this ridiculously stupid app that oftentimes freezes. You can only use it on a tablet. Like, I have my Kindle Fire here where I am reading the questions off of, which is fine. I like my Kindle Fire, but that's not my reader of choice. Like, I don't read off of that device. I read off of my Kindles and my Kobos because I prefer an e-ink display. So maybe I know that there's this new thing called eBox or something that is like it's about this big, and it's almost like an Android, but it's an e-ink device. So, but you can put apps on it. So that might work for this, for the Gloss app. But the fact that they did this is just really annoying to their readers and whatever. They don't even give you the option anymore. You can't do anything other than read it on this app, which is annoying. The other thing that they used to do that was a big selling feature for me to purchase the books off of Harlequin instead of going to Amazon or whatever. Yes, they do have sales. You know, like occasionally they'll have like 30% off, or, you know, buy two, get one for free, whatever the case may be. They're not as plentiful as they used to be. They used to have a sale every single Friday. And every single Friday, I would go on their website in the morning and see what the sale was and see whether it was worth my while to buy a book or two. Now, it's like there's not. So there's no incentive for me to buy from them, rather buy for my reader of choice. Anyway, again, I could go on. I love Harlequin books. I love category romance books. But I just don't understand company-wise some of the decisions that are being made. You know, that's just me. Nobody consulted me, basically. And they should have. Question number 2. Have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you there's a great twist? Well, if you are reading a thriller and somebody's like, oh my God, it's got such a good twist, and you get annoyed at that, that's on you. The whole point of a thriller is the twist. It's a hallmark of thriller books is to have a twist. Spoilers are spoilers. I mostly read contemporary romance books, and I have always said you cannot be spoiled by them. The couple that you meet on those first pages or in that first chapter is the couple that's going to end up together at the end. That's how a romance works. It's the journey of how they get there. And, you know, like, I get people wanting to read in order and stuff like that, like a series. I get it. If you're reading the Harry Potter series and someone told you how it ended, I could see being a little annoyed if you were just starting it. There's also the whole thing of, is a spoiler Like how long until it's not a spoiler anymore. So for example, I remember years and years and years ago, we had a flea market and we used to go every Sunday, my brother, my dad, sometimes my mom, and we would go and look at movies, like DVDs. Like this is how long ago we're going back. And there's a guy who sold all these DVDs. They weren't bootleg or anything. They were legit DVDs. And we were standing there the one time and I was standing beside my dad and there was a woman standing beside him and the woman was holding the movie The Sixth Sense. And Dad turns to her and he goes, "Have you seen it?" She goes, "Oh yeah." And he goes, "The ending where the kid is the one, or Bruce Willis is the one who's dead." And I turn and look at him. I go, "Dad," I'm like, "I haven't watched it yet." And he's like, "I'm sorry." He goes, "It came out like 5 years ago. That's your fault." And that just makes me, to this day, I think about it, makes me laugh because I see people on BookTube who have read, like, I don't know, Les Mis. And they're like, "I don't want to give away spoilers." Les Mis is like 200 years old. If you haven't read it, anyway, at what point is it no longer a spoiler? And to answer the question, no, I have not been disappointed by a spoiler because generally, the only time that you would annoy me with it is if I was reading a book and someone came up and goes, "Oh my God, what, blah, 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 blah." And it was like something, like it was something major, something that you were not expecting that comes right out of left field. I think more for thrillers than anything else. Like, you can tell me there's a twist. That's not a spoiler. I know that there's going to be a twist. That's what happens in a thriller. But if you suddenly tell me, it was the butler who did it, and it's like, oh my God, that might be a little bit annoyed about. But if I overheard that somewhere or watch it on a YouTube video of someone giving their review of a book, either A, I might not read that book at all. Like, I might not be interested in that book and it's fine. Or B, if I do end up reading it, it's probably going to be so far in the future that I'm going to completely forget that was even mentioned to me. So, spoilers, fine by me. Spoil away. Number 3. Have you ever been annoyed by what discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. I don't think so. I think used bookstore, the one thing I have to say, the thing that I one time found annoying, now I don't think they do this anymore, but many, many, many years ago, well, it's still there. There is a all romance bookstore in Los Angeles called The Rip Bodice. And they have a pretty big presence online. They have a pretty active Instagram. And they were one of those places that was like on my bucket list. Like, I really, really wanted to go there and to go to this place because they have all the new releases downstairs, and upstairs they have this huge area of like used books. And I was like, oh, I would love to go see that. I found out that up until not long ago, they didn't sell category romance. And it was for the reason that they didn't think that they were worth it. Like, that they weren't like, they were book snobs. Let's be realistic. That's what it sounded like to me. And that just really turned me off of wanting to go to that store. And then when Rowan Parrish released The Lights on Knoxbridge Lane a couple years ago, the first male category romance, the holiday book, all of a sudden they did a big thing in the store for it. They had Rowan Parrish come in and sign books. And I thought, no, like, I'm sorry. That really, really bothered me. Like, it wasn't good enough for you at this point, but it is now, right? So anyway, this could just be an entire annoyance on category romance. It could be the whole video. Number 4. When it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? I had to think about this one because I didn't really understand. But I just read the Agatha Christie, the first 13 Miss Marple books. I don't think I would notice if there was a novella in the middle. Maybe I'm reading the question wrong. But short stories are sort of kind of novellas. Like, what's the definition of short story and novella? How different are we talking in page or word count here, guys? I don't think it would bother me. Not at all. 5. Deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? I think deckled edges are lovely. These are deckled edges, for those of you who do not know. They're slightly like rough cut. And they are, it's kind of hard for me to show you on this. And this one has French flaps too. And it is, they're like, it's hard to show you, but they're kind of like weirdly cut. There, maybe you can see it. There you go. So, pardon me, do you see that they're not perfectly straight? So, I mean, pardon me, I like it. But sometimes it can be annoying while reading because sometimes the pages might get stuck. I don't know. So, yeah, I like them. You don't see them. Pardon me, I've got the hiccups. It must be the coffee. You don't see them very often. Number 6. Cheers, excuse me. Other people's annotations in a used book or a library book annoying? Or are you okay with it? Don't write in books that don't belong to you. Full stop. Or if you plan on, if you plan on donating it later, that's fine. But please don't do it in a library book. That's not your book. That's the library's book. Nothing I would annoy more than borrowing a library book with all these things in it. If you want to annotate a book, get your own copy, please. Don't deface books. And I don't care. All you annotators can come at me with this. Get your own book and annotate that. Or if you're going to borrow a book, maybe have a little notebook and make annotations. Then if you really like it, you're like, hey, I'm going to go and buy this book. And then you can annotate the heck out of it. Stop doing it to library books. Used books, completely different because the person probably didn't know at the time that they were going to, return it or they were going to donate it, right? So that's fine. The book was originally theirs. That's my point. If I was at a thrift store and I was looking through books and there was one I wanted to buy, and if I flip through it, which I oftentimes do before I buy it, if I saw like highlights and annotations, I'd be like right back on the shelf. I have no interest in that. Thank you very much. But yeah, if it's not your book, stop defacing it, please. I still have that tickle from having the cold last week. Number 7. If there's a series or collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or okay with it? And if yes, give us an example. I am perfectly fine with it. I know that is the probably unpopular opinion. But when I hear imprint, I think category romance imprint. And so for that, of course, I had to bring some examples. As you can tell, there are some slightly older ones by the slightly more yellowed. So category romance that has been around for a while, a certain line or an imprint like Intrigue. I used Intrigue as the example for this. They've been around since the early 90s. So the covers go through changes and they change with the times, right? And that's cool. I like that because it's not like suddenly like this book is this book is this, and every single book they change. They'll go through a run of books that have like the same cover design, and then they'll start a new cover design. And they're doing this now. They're transitioning to a new cover design as we speak. So, I'm fine with it. So for example, I'll just show you guys. I just grabbed these 4 Intrigue books off my shelf just as an example. So way back at the beginning, this was from 1990. We have Carnival by Jenna Ryan. So the covers, they had like this, like the couple, and then they usually have a secondary scene down here. The title, very clear, the author's name, Harlequin Intrigue across the top with the number. This was the design for quite some time. Then at some point it changed and it became a little bit more colorful. And this one we have here is White Wedding by Jean Barnett. This is number 351. It came out in 95. So 5 years later, I don't know the exact time that the line changed from one to the other, but now you've got this big full color picture, and this all kind of matched whatever was in here. So this would all be different. It's not like every single book had this like Christmas motif. Depending on what the book was about, they were all a little bit different, but they were colorful. And that's what kind of tied them all together, is that they were all very colorful. With the colored, background. Excuse me. Pardon me. And then this is from 2018, so we're really jumping ahead. I missed them in between. I couldn't easily grab them off my shelves. We have this era of them, and I really, really like these ones. So it was mostly, your image. You've got title, clear as day, author, clear as day, Deputy Defender by Cindy Myers, Harlequin Intrigue up here. If you can tell, the Intrigue, it looks like the thumbprint, like you know what I'm talking about, the fingerprint. And we have it there too on the spine with the eye for Intrigue. And these were clear as, like, again, if you were in a used bookstore and you see this with the purple has always been synonymous with the romantic suspense. Either the Intrigue or the romantic suspense lines have always been like the purple color. So you kind of just knew. And I like that for branding purposes. It was great. You kind of knew that, right? And then they moved into this, which is just the same but slightly different. So instead of the Intrigue banner being straight across, it went to this like little diamond, which I really liked. And every single imprint had its own color. So if you line them all up, all the spines were a different color depending on the line. The intrigue, the historical, the special edition, all of them had a different color. But again, clear, nice big title, author's name, and a great image. And then usually you got a little kind of image on the back. Yeah, so this is Accidental Witness by Julianne Lindsay. And just so you got the same on the back here. So the backs didn't really change that much. It was more just like the front branding changed. And then for this one, you get a little picture on the back too. And then for this one, it was just plain on the back. So yeah, just as a visual, I am fine with it. It's kind of fun watching these lines change as years go on. I do want to do a video at some point, picking maybe a line or two and kind of doing the, the cover transitions. If you guys would be interested in seeing that, I don't know. Let me know if you would be. Sorry, my hair is bugging me today. And I would be very, very happy to do that. Maybe tell me what line you'd like to see me do. And the romance line would be a ton of fun because it's been around since the 40s, or the early 50s. So that would be really cool. 8. Do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying. Not really. It's a book. I can't control the characters. I can't control their thoughts or actions. I mean, you might say like, what are you doing, you idiot, going into the basement? But it's a book. I'm just going to continue reading it. Number 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? I am super annoyed at how I'm currently organizing my books, which is not at all. The book room is a mess. I had someone ask me in a video the other day for an updated tour. I'm like, yeah, I've got books on the floor. I've got no room in there. I talked about this in a video earlier this week that I do plan on overhauling stuff in there. I actually do plan on getting rid of a lot, not a lot, but some of my category romance books because I want to only really keep the older ones. My hair is driving me crazy today. What is this? Again, I've mentioned this before. They cut it just a little too short. Anyway, I only plan on keeping the Harlequin books or the category romance books that I cannot get as an ebook. So stuff that is older is what I plan on holding on to. Or stuff that I may have gotten from an author that is signed, of course. I'm not going to get rid of those. So it's going to take me some time to go through those because I have a lot of other books too that I want to keep, like my Babysitters Club, Sweet Valley, plus a bunch of just like other books that are non-category. I'd like to have a nice kind of diverse collection in terms of the types of books that I have. But right now I am very annoyed at myself because it's a mess. But the two that drive me crazy. The people who turn their books spine in so they all look the same with what is that? And thing the second, organizing by color. No. Just all the no. Like, I absolutely love the look of a library. You walk into your library, like think about going to your local library, and you walk in, and you got the shelf of like romance books, for example. And you've got all the ones that have like authors with the letter A in their name. You've got a paperback beside a hardcover, beside a trade paperback. So the sizes are all different, spines are all different. And there's just something about that I love so much. But it's organized. And I love the look of it. I love that haphazard library look. And it's not haphazard because it's like everything together. I love it. That's how I want my own library to be. So once I get it organized in there, all the non-category are going to be organized by author. And then by series within the author. So like for Jill Shalvis, if I have all of the Heartbreaker Bay series, I'll keep those all together, kind of an idea. And then my categories are going to be in terms of like all the American romance, then all the Blaze, then all the CD, the Desire and the duets. And so I'm going to go alphabetically that way. And then within that series itself, it's going to be from number 0 to whatever. So then I'll put them in by number. That's my game plan anyway. So we shall see how that goes. But yeah, so annoyed at myself for my own personal library. Number 10, share something bookish you find annoying. Pretty easy answer to this one. Book snobs. Book snobs are very annoying. Stop being a book snob if you're a book snob. Let people read what they want to read. Just bugger off, please, okay? If a grown adult or whatever wants to read Harry Potter, let them. If, or another middle grade book, like right now we have middle grade March going on, and all these adults are reading middle grade books and enjoying them. I just watched a video from Michael Romeo the other day. He did it because he was talking about blaming MJ over at MJ's Reading This Life. I'll leave links to all these people below. But he was saying how he would have never read YA until he started doing this banned books challenge. And he's realizing how much he's enjoying it and how much he's missed out. If you don't think you're going to like, just give it a try. It's just, we all heard it as children, right? I don't want to eat that, or I don't want to do that because I don't like it. Well, did you try it? If you didn't try it, then how do you know, right? Like, I do really read across the spectrum. I read pretty much everything. There are a few things I won't read, and I'll admit that straight up. And it's not that I need to try it to know. I know for a fact. Extreme horror is not anything that I have any interest in. But other than that, like, I like YA. I like middle grade. I like, fantasy, sci-fi. They're a little bit above my, as I like to say, above my pay grade. They're, unless there's an easy place to start with either of those, I should really try to read Lord of the Rings. Make my dad very happy. Or it would have made my dad very happy, I should say. I read The Hobbit, and I didn't dislike it, but I've actually heard that The Lord of the Rings can at parts be boring, so I don't know. But my whole point is that if you spy somebody on the train and they are reading a category romance novel, don't turn your nose up at them and think that you're better than them, because you're all equal. We're all as readers, we're all equal. We're all enjoying books and talking about books. And, if you see a fellow reader out there, regardless, what are you reading? Are you enjoying it? Unless the reader's like, looks at you and is like, don't bother me, because, sometimes we do that too. But you know what I mean? Like, just don't think you are superior to somebody else based on what it is they're reading and what you're reading. That's just my opinion. If you want to read nothing but classics, kudos to you. Awesome. I couldn't do it. That's not my cup of tea. I've read a handful of them, and I've liked the ones that I've read. I liked Jane Eyre, and I liked The Woman in White, and I'm not a fan of Jane Austen. And I'm okay with that, right? Because just because those are classics doesn't make them better, because how do you not know that something that's being read or written or read right now is not going to be a classic in 100 years, right? We're going to need new classics at some point. So stop being a book snob. End of story. Anyway, guys, I've rambled on in this video. Shocking, I know. I'm not going to tag anybody, like I said, because I think everybody has done this. But if you have not done this tag and you want to do this tag, consider yourself tagged. Anyway, guys, until my next video, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.